Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Alicia Navarro, aged 14, from Glendale, Phoenix in Arizona. She disappeared in the night of September 15, 2019, so a few years ago. Now, Alicia was normally fairly socially anxious. She would not want to leave the house, but a few months or weeks maybe before she disappeared, she started becoming more sociable, started asking to get makeup and body sprays, and started hanging out with people at the mall, which was in itself a good development because she normally wouldn't want to do that, and her friends and family were glad to see her becoming more social. She was also apparently chatting to somebody online who really altered her views in the world because she started listening to different types of music, wanted to dress differently, and also she became very interested in a copy of the Iron Man comic called Demon in a Bottle, which she had to buy, and the copy cost about $200, so that's fairly unusual. And when it arrived, she actually didn't even look at it, didn't open it, or anything like that, so perhaps she did not buy it for herself. So on September 15th, early in the morning, about 1:30, she came downstairs to find her mother sitting on the couch waiting for her stepdad, who was still out working. She was so surprised by her mother being there that she made some comment about it being super late, and then she went back upstairs. Now, stepdad arrived sometime after that, and I think mom went to bed while stepdad watched some TV and eventually fell asleep on the couch. The next morning, mom came downstairs to make breakfast, and she noticed that the back door, was slightly open, which was somewhat concerning. Initially, she thought that the house had been robbed, maybe. Eventually, she found that there was nothing wrong inside the house, but she found a set of footprints leading to a bunch of stacked chairs, which were near a fence. There was also a spade set up against another fence, which she probably used to get over the fence without opening it, which was unlocked, but it probably would have made a noise otherwise, so probably she was trying to avoid any noise being made or the dogs waking up to the fact that something was going on. So they, at that point, figured out that she was missing because she was no longer in her bedroom. They did find a note in her bedroom that read, "I ran away. I will be back, I swear. I'm sorry, Alicia." Handwriting experts concluded that it was indeed her writing that note, so she did leave on her own volition. Sometime later, people saw her in a park about a mile away. I believe it was called the La Pradera Park, with a man that appeared to be older than her and who was covered in tattoos, which may be the person who was interested in that Iron Man comic and also listened to Pink Floyd, which is one of the things she started to listen to shortly before she disappeared. It's been 2 years, and we don't know where she is. There's no body found as far as I'm aware. And that is why we are taking a look at this case with the tarot. The first deck that we're using is the Modern Witch Tarot, one of the staples on this channel. And we're going to move on for any further questions to the Everyday Tarot deck, which is this one, which is the pocket-sized version with cards like these that are much more to the point. So, as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck, and as soon as I have enough cards on the table, we'll take a look at what we have, and without much further ado, let's get started. See a lot of stubborn energy in this, particularly in the top row, and also down here with the reverse death. But let's first grab a couple of cards. Let's start with these two. Ten of Swords and the Four of Wands. Now the Ten of Swords is in reverse. Now Ten of Swords is normally just worrying about something that you really need to worry less about. I usually call it the darkest before dawn card, and in this case we don't even really see dawn coming up, but it's in reverse, so it might be the anxiety here, because anxiety, or at least the reverse cards, tend to point towards more long-term anxieties or effects being long-term or internalized. Also, we see that echoed in the Four of Swords here, which is also worry and anxiety. So there's a lot of anxiety going on, and we see Judgment in reverse. So I think that means all this worry and anxiety that she felt for a prolonged period of time led to a lapse of judgment, which is why we have here the Judgment card in reverse. We see also the Two of Cups in reverse. I'm just going to grab these two. So like I said, a lapse in judgment probably brought on by being very exhausted from all the anxiety, perhaps, or just, I guess, feeling like anybody who is being friendly is somebody you can trust, because we see the Two of Cups in reverse here. I feel like this is not necessarily a breaking up of a relationship or a breaking of trust. I think, like I said, because of all this anxiety buildup and the lack of judgment, it's more like trusting the wrong person in this case. And we also see here that the world is upright, so perhaps the world in this case might represent the internet at large, with the Two of Swords next to that in reverse as well. She was online a lot, which may be represented by the world. I think for her, this kind of shows finding her way online as though that was her world. That is her world that she was in, and there was no doubt about it, because the Two of Swords is in reverse. That usually means one-track minded, single focused, that type of thing. So this person that she met in this world of hers, she did not want to think about them in any way other than positive, because it was such a positive influence for her at that time that she was unable to tell whether this was a good person or not. It seems as though this entire line kind of reminds me of having been online as a teen myself. Like, I've been around for a while, and we had access to the internet in the mid-90s already, and back then there weren't so many safeguards against people with bad intentions. And I was also very much reclusive as a teen, and I was very much online, so I definitely recognize this line over here. Maybe my own personal influence, of course, in that sense, so take it with a grain of salt. But it seems as though in her little online world bubble, she encountered somebody who was nice, and I know that from my own experience, when I encountered somebody online who seemed nice as a teen, being kind of depressed in real life, that person became super important. So this kind of seems like, because of all the anxiety and because it was in her little world that she met this positive person, she just didn't even consider the fact that it might be a bad person. I do believe that there was an instance where her mother found somebody who was messaging her, sending her weird things, and she was warned about people online potentially having bad intentions, but this person probably snuck in a way that seemed as though they were a great friend and probably didn't send the same type of messages that the other person did, and who appears really knowledgeable about the world as well. Because once again, going back to my own experience as a teen, meeting somebody who was older than me online, who was interested in talking to me, was like the cool thing to have, right? Somebody who was out there in the world, already had a whole bunch of experience, able to tell you about stuff and tell you about things that you hadn't experienced yet, that you might have wanted to experience. Just somebody who has a huge cool factor, I think, is what we're looking at here, at least for her. On the second row, we have Death and the Ten of Cups in reverse. Now, Death in reverse is being unable to close a chapter on something, unable to let something go. Ten of Cups in reverse is a disharmony, which I believe may be caused by being unable to let somebody go. I think this might be, I feel like this might be them, this other person, talking to her and saying, you know what, it would be so much better if you came with me, or the place that you're at now, oh, it's so boring, your parents are so controlling, and we could go out and have lots of fun and stuff like that, like making her dissatisfied with her current circumstances to the point where she would want to leave. We see here the Knight of Pentacles, which is probably the person themselves being represented, maybe as a bit of an anti-hero, but I feel like this is more of a betrayal card. But first, let's grab this here, Knight of Pentacles. So Knight of Pentacles, like I've said in other readings, is a very slow and steady wins the race type of person. And he may have come across as somebody, like I said, very knowledgeable, very stable, because the Knight of Pentacles is very earthy, very open and honest, and also focused, which might be something that she may have wanted or thought to be very interesting. Now, this is how he portrayed himself to be initially, and like I said, the Six of Wands feels a little bit like a betrayal card. So I'm going to grab these. Now, these three, they come after our Knight of Pentacles here, and I feel like this is almost like a very quick wrap-up of the situation, and it seems to read as though this person initially seemed really great. That's why we have the Six of Wands here, which is normally like a hero card, like people being celebrated, but it turned out not to be quite what she thought. I think there were a lot of lies involved. She may have found out some lies about them. But then next we see here the Nine of Cups, and this is somebody who is very independent and perfectly good on their own. So it almost seems to me as though the person that they went to meet fell through somehow, and because of the lies, which she may have been really good at detecting, even though she may not have had a lot of experience, and she decided to break up with them, leave them at least somehow, and is at least at some point was feeling perfectly fine by herself, like, now I'm independent, because this is, because the nines are an independence type card. People tend to be on their by themselves, and this person also seems to be doing pretty fine, feeling good, maybe having found some way that she could exist without him and feel really good about it, like really good about being independent, I feel, and just being out in the world, maybe even feeling like, oh, they would be so proud of me if they saw me now, that type of thing. But she hasn't come home yet. If somebody were to disappear and then go about things by themselves, you would expect them to at least contact the family to let them know how they're doing. But as far as I'm aware, that hasn't happened yet. Like, this may be the moments after she decided that actually this person was not what she thought they were, and she managed to free herself, and she's like, okay, great, now what? But I'm on my own, so that's good. They should see me now. They would be proud, that type of thing. So far we see somebody being very anxious and having a lack of judgment because of that, meeting somebody out in the great world who could show her a thing of two. Once again, having a lack of judgment and a singular focus with the Two of Swords in reverse, unable to let that go as well. Then there is the disharmony here, which I do feel is him telling her that there's like so much more things that she could be exploring beyond the rainbow if only she would come with him. And then that turned out to be a nothing burger, if you were to call it that. At least not what he was saying that it would be. And she eventually, due to discovering a lie, has decided to strike out on her own. Let's see if we can find out any more about that, because this is, like I said, halfway through the story, it seems as though, because that can't be the ending of the story so far. No, we're persisting with the Nine of Cups here. Nine of Cups comes back a second time. I do feel like she definitely felt pretty good about herself at some points. Though why wouldn't she then also not contact the people back home? She did bring her phone and her MacBook, but those were never used. So she brought them, but never used them. Why would you do such a thing? I think one of the friends also said when they were being questioned that she had at one point gone to the mall with them, and even though she had left the house with nothing, she had arrived with a backpack with a burner phone, which is also really suspicious. So maybe she lost the burner phone, and because she lost the regular phone and MacBook so quickly, she wasn't able to contact them or something. Let's see what else we can get, because that is of course all just stuff that we're thinking. Let's see, Four of Pentacles is a financial balance that we're striking. We also have here the Moon reverse, and behind the Moon is again the Ten of Swords. Okay, so the Ten of Swords is back, but this time it's upright, so maybe she's having trouble with her resources. Maybe she's in a place where she doesn't have the resources that she needs to go where she wants to go. She's pretty anxious about it at this point, and we have the Moon in reverse, so this is like the veil dropping and showing what's behind it, like secrets being revealed. maybe this kind of reads like being out in the real world and seeing how difficult it really is. Like maybe she had an idealized version of what it would be like to be out there on her own, and that turned out to be a lot different from what it actually turned out to be. And she may have suddenly found herself being without the resources she felt that she would have, and that made her worry considerably. Well, that's understandable, particularly if you're in a place where you're not sure where you are. Whoops, got a couple that are just flying off. Which ones do we need? This one, okay, get off my thumb then. Again, the Page of Swords, the lies continue. Maybe she never actually left his side. Maybe she just kind of figured out who he really was and decided to stick with him anyway. We're seeing a lot of repeats here. The Nine of Cups came back. We have here, again, the Ten of Swords is back, only this time upright. Page of Swords is back, also still in reverse. So the anxiety is still there, but this is a new type of anxiety, because before we had the 4 and the 10 over here, the 10 being reversed back then, which was something that she was familiar with, type of anxiety that she had dealt with her entire life. And it seems as though now there's a new type of anxiety because she is out in this new situation. And there's all sorts of lies still, perhaps not being told by the same person, but because he was caught lying earlier with his Page of Swords and the Six of Wands. Maybe he still has some influence on her, still in contact somehow. Let's see, King of Swords is back, or at least rather he is here. Okay, so we have the King of Swords. We also have Three of Pentacles, that's working against people. Ace of Wands in reverse, also new initiatives that are not very well carried out. Or there's a whole stack under here. Okay, let me just organize these. So we got the King of Swords coming out, first of all. Then we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Ace of Wands also in reverse right here. We have the Nine of Wands. Okay, that's being tired again. And the Eight of Swords in reverse. Okay. Right. So whether or not he is still around, it looks as though she is under the influence of somebody with this King of Swords card over here in reverse. Now, the King of Swords is somebody who's very sharp-witted and may also be very easy with manipulating people. And Alicia being who she was, she may be easily influenced in that regard. They may be working against her, even though it might seem as though she is working with them on something. She may have been promised something that could not be delivered if only she were to cooperate. We do see her with the Nine of Wands here, so she's tired of whatever it is, that situation that she's in. And we see the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is almost like being tied up mentally. Eight of Swords normally is being stuck in like a mental thought pattern, and I think she may be even more stuck than others might be because of her situation. With her ASD, I mean, she may have been talked into working for somebody and feeling very tired and unable to leave because she actually believes what this King of Swords is telling her. So it seems as though she got roped into something and she doesn't know how to get out, even though she is feeling very independent in a way, because we have two Nine of Cups here, both of them upright. So maybe she feels like the situation that she's in is just something that she has to do because now she's out on her own and she's an adult and stuff like that. I believe she is currently, she would turn 18 this year, I think. So she may have been brought to some place where people were asking her to do all sorts of things which she feels are things that she needs to do because the King of Swords is telling her that she needs to do these things. We have Temperance here, so she's keeping her cool though at the very least. She's found some type of balance, I believe. Fine. Page of Cups is in reverse, so she does occasionally have some mental hiccups, emotional hiccups, because of course it is a Cups card. I think that there are occasional emotional surprises that are almost expected, like things just go bad every once in a while, but she knows that these things happen. So it's kind of like she's trying to balance things out a bit. She may also be trying to balance her own temperance out, her own temper rather. Dealing with things. And perhaps also in that sense thinking that she is becoming more of an adult by dealing with these things. Okay. So she doesn't see much in the ways of options, but she is getting really tired because we have the 10 of Wands here. We had the 8 of Wands. Oh no, the 9 of Wands. We had the 9 of Wands earlier down here. She was already quite tired over there, but now she's really on the verge of being overburdened. But finding none of the options really good. And as you can see, this shirt that this person is wearing says over it. So it's kind of like she doesn't really want to choose any of these options because nothing that she sees as an option is really something she wants to choose. But in any case, she's tired of it. She's trying to keep her balance. She is occasionally negatively surprised and tired of it in more ways than one, emotionally and physically, I think. Oops. There you go, more 9 of Wands. She's very tired of it. We're getting all of these cards back. So 9 of Wands right next to this 9 of Wands. Anything behind it? No. Yeah, very, very tired. We see here 3 of Wands wanting to go away. So this almost looks as though she is like stuck somewhere. The Hermit landed on its side, so I'm gonna kind of keep it like this. I think it needs to be in reverse, which would mean that she's unable to really think about where she is. It's kind of reminding me of like a cult or something. Like if you are kept in a certain location, like a cult, they tend to make it so that you're very tired all the time so that you can't make decisions and you can't really think your way out of problems and you can't think of solutions. You just want to leave, but there's no energy and there's no there's no mental energy to really come up with a way to get out. Also, you don't really see a way out because the people around you tend to make it seem as though there's no way back. And I also have here the reverse 6 of Pentacles, which is like a charity card, but it's in reverse, and this feels like a negative type of charity. Like if you were in a cult, which is what this is starting to look like, she's at least someplace where she can't just leave, like she feels indentured to them. They tend to make it seem like what they're doing for you is so great, and won't you just stay and be a decent person and pay back for all the stuff that we've done for you. People out there don't care about you, or at least they're not here, so, and we are, and therefore you should definitely help pay us back or do the things that we ask of you. It's not that much of a thing, is it? We're not asking that much type of thing. I'd like 1 or 2 more cards, and then I think I'm gonna call it. There we go. We have this one, King of Cups. Okay, that's a very emotionally manipulative person, and we already had the King of Swords here, so we'll put this one here. And we have the 5 of Wands, which is an internal struggle. I think, like I was saying earlier, this sounds very much like she's under the influence of somebody or a group. There might be a place, I almost want to say a compound, where people are kept to do whatever it is that they're being asked to do, and she doesn't know how to get out. That's what this lineup seems to suggest so far. I'm not seeing any violence or anything like that. I don't see like a crime being committed in that sense. We do see her being very, very tired, both physically and mentally, but for some reason this 9 of Cups keeps coming back, and she may feel like she's in a good place even though she's super tired. Like some people who are indoctrinated tend to feel like they're doing things for the greater good. That type of thing is what I'm feeling here. So that's what I'm seeing for Alicia Navarro. I hope you found it interesting. Be sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, or leave a like. That really helps the channel along. If there are cases you would like me to do a reading on, make sure to leave that in the comment section below as well. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in another video, and bye bye for now.